this year, when all of the members of the House of Representatives are up for election or re-election, that we find out which ones are going to be really good in the next Congress and support them, whether they're in our own state or some other state, and find out which ones are going to be really good, progressive people that are sane and able to do the job we want them to do.
In the local weekly this week in the Journal of the San Juan Islands, there was a letter to the editor which essentially suggested that people should get a number of votes proportional to how much property and how much income they had. Now, I personally think that was probably intended as sarcasm, but whether or not it was, the ironic fact is that an extreme version of that system is actually already in effect in this country. What I'm talking about is the fact that as a direct result of the 2010 Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission Supreme Court decision, corporations, trade associations, labor unions, and wealthy individuals can all give unlimited amounts of money to organizations which in turn can support or oppose specific candidates or issues. In other words, people with deep financial resources can have much more influence upon how the public at large votes than individual voices like you or me. Now, most people probably like to believe that Americans sit back, listen to the candidates' positions, weigh the issues, and make educated, informed decisions about whom to vote for. Even if you believe that, and even if, let's say, only 10% of those people who vote are easily swayed by especially extremely negative commercials, the fact of the matter is that if only half of those people are swayed in the last presidential election, if half that 10% was swayed to vote differently by all of that money being spent, the election would have gone completely the opposite way. And in fact, in the next election, the margin will probably be much closer than that. The bottom line is advertising works, believe it or not, even for voters. We must overturn Citizens United one way or the other and return this country to representative democracy. Thanks, and have a great day.
Life is change. Growth is optional. Choose wisely.
Hi, I'm Allison, and it's a nice chilly day in Friday Harbor this week. On Monday, which was a holiday, I went down to Olympia with people in my union, SEIU, and had a good time talking to legislators and their staff people. And on the bus ride down, I talked to Laura. She's a preschool teacher, and she has a son who's a junior in high school. This is the year, of course, that he's getting ready, thinking about colleges, applying to them, and so on. And he's very, very good at mathematics. I'm a little envious of that, but anyway. And he would like to go into computer science. He might like to go to the University of Washington. And it seems that the University of Washington, along with many other universities in our glorious state, the funding for it from the state of Washington has been decreasing since the 90s. And it's been decreasing amazingly in the last 3 years, since 2009. And it seems that the amount of state funding for the University of Washington has decreased by 50% in those last 3 years. And now students, if they are undergraduates wanting to go to the University of Washington, have to pay tuition of about, I believe it's $10,500 and something a year. It's huge. Well, not only that, but it seems that they have a cap on enrollment for certain majors, including computer science. So you might think we'd want to have a lot of computer scientists, but the university can't seem to afford to educate more than a certain number, and he can't even get into his chosen major if he does go there. This is just one example of the kinds of problems we're coming up with in Washington State because we're required to balance the budget, and you do it by either you have income and you have outgo, and we're not raising any of the income. It's all in what they call an all-cuts budget. In order to balance the budget, we're not getting as much revenue from our sales tax as we have been, and so the things like education and many other of our services are being cut. And there's people are beginning to realize we do have to have some revenue. And by the way, maybe next week I'll mention some of the ways that the cuts that we're making are actually causing deaths. This is something we can't keep doing. But anyway, so we need to raise revenue. We can't keep cutting because it's just destroying our state. And a couple of the revenue suggestions are to have... Okay, there are two suggestions for raising revenue that I'll bring up. One is close loopholes. We got various loopholes that allow companies to not pay taxes, and supposedly these loopholes were put into effect in order to do something good for the state, but in many cases they're not really doing anything for us, and we're simply not getting that tax money. The other possibility would be what they call a capital gains tax. That's a tax on income that comes from the sale of things like stocks and bonds. The people's primary residence would, if you sold your house, that would not be subject to the capital gains tax that's being considered. It's House Bill. It's being considered in the House right now, and it would be a great time to talk to your legislator and tell them that you'd like to have a capital gains tax in order to get some fairness in the revenue stream for our state. Right now, we have the state income, the sales tax mostly, and that is disproportionately affecting the lowest income among us. I think if we have a capital gains tax, that would increase our revenue, and it would also increase the fairness of our tax system. So talk to your legislators and pass it on. Thank you.
I believe that we should run this country and have a president run on the backstretch policy. Every individual on the planet deserves to have their back scratched at least 30 minutes every day. It'll make everyone happy. It'll probably really cut down on the cost of the mental health policy because people will be happy. All random acts of kindness should be tax deductible. If all random acts of kindness were tax deductible, we could probably do away with almost all of the monies that are needed for welfare and other benefits that people require. Thank you.
Fine, Ollie.
Okay. Double cut. Oops. Oh, dog of justice.
Dog, if you want to get